Hi there. In a world where nothing is certain, that means anything is possible, right? If you want to fulfill your dreams and desires, you are in the right place. You absolutely can have a life of happiness. Everyone deserves an abundance of love, laughter, success, health, and wealth. I'm Tara Chadzakis, and you're listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. The show that brings you meditation, mindset, and motivation. So start by giving yourself permission to be awesome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. Today, I am joined by Lou Portass. Lou is a friend of mine. We met a while ago online, and we've also done a Women Who Want More Summit together as well on Facebook. So I've known Lou for quite a few months now, and Lou helps female coaches and wellness professionals to release what kind of no longer serves them so that they can reconnect and get to know more about themselves and rise up as change makers. She also works a lot with the tech around this kind of work. So Lou offers programs that are helping people step into their power and also helping them with their tech. So it's quite an unusual combination, but she is an amazing woman and she's really talented, and I'm sure that you're going to love and learn loads from Lou during this interview. Just before we dive in, I just wanted to tell you that the Law of Attraction coaching is actually underway now, but you still have time to join me for 8 weeks to look at how we can get you into your amazing, awesome self and really get you booming and manifesting like an amazing magnet that you actually are. Because often we don't realize just what kind of power we've got within us until we need to use it and need to look at it and do it consciously. So I'll put a link in the show notes. You can jump on a call with me and we can have a chat about, where you are, what you want to do, and what you think's been holding you back. And we can work on them to get rid of those blocks and get you thriving and not just surviving. So looking forward to working with you. The next 8 weeks are going to be amazing as we work together. So now let's jump into the episode and listen to Lou. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. And I have Lou Portass with me today. So hi, Lou, how are you doing today?
Hi, Tara. Thank you so much for having me on. I am doing great. And I think the listeners might need to know that I'm actually currently sitting in a caravan, because why wouldn't you record a podcast in a caravan if you could?
I know. And I'm so freaking jealous. Honestly, I love caravans. I have the best childhood memories from my caravans. We used to come to the Isle of Wight, which is where I live now, with the caravan. And it was just like the best thing ever. They're just amazing. They're just amazingness on wheels.
And mine is permanently in Cornwall, because that's where I live. Again, what more could you want?
Where do you take your caravan to then if you live in
Cornwall?
To Cornwall, from Cornwall. Okay, so
the benefit for us is almost no traffic and a 40-minute journey rather than hundreds of hours that the rest of the country has to take to get here.
Yeah, we had never been to Cornwall, and we went, God, I get confused with years now because of 2020. Maybe it was 3 years ago. We're like, me and my daughters were like, okay, we've never been to Cornwall, let's go. So we booked it. We booked a Airbnb thing, and we went to stay in Cornwall. And we're looking at the map. We're like, oh yeah, it's 4 hours from wherever, Southampton. 6 hours later, we're like, oh my God, am I there yet? What the hell?
It wasn't a bank holiday weekend, was it?
No.
Oh, I can't. That would be 10 times worse, probably.
No, I don't think it was particularly. Some of the traffic was bad, but it was just like, even though Miss Google told me it was 4 hours, she was definitely lying to me, because it didn't take that long. And every time we were like, oh, we're nearly there then, because it's like, no, you still have 50 hours left to go. And I'm like, what the hell?
I'll tell you a secret. If you'd been going in the other direction, it would have been 4 hours, because nobody's going out when everybody's coming in.
It was crazy. And when it was beautiful when we got there. Where did we stay? We stayed in Truro.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it was nice. But then the weather was really crap and it was pissing it down with rain. It was freezing. And we're like, oh, let's go to, I don't know, Falmouth, wherever we went. I don't know. And it was like, yeah, this is really nice. And we're walking around with like umbrellas and hoods up and try to look at windows. And we're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near the sea. It was
You
not.
definitely can't predict the weather here.
No, it was not the I'm sure the place is much more beautiful in the sunshine. It was cold and wet. We did a lot of shopping because that's all we could do, because we just kept jumping in and out of shops to keep dry.
Yes.
And of course we had a Cornish pasty, because why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
In Cornwall, yes. And that was really good. So yeah, you do live in a beautiful place, I have to say.
Yeah, we do. Very lucky.
Maybe you should bring your caravan to the Isle of Wight instead.
If my husband were brave enough to what do you call it, tow it, which I certainly am not that far, then yeah, I'd be up for that. I want to take it. It hasn't been. So you know that the River Tamar divides Cornwall and Devon, and it hasn't been over the River Tamar yet with us.
Oh,
so it needs a journey for sure.
It definitely does. Well, when you do bring it here, we'll have to meet for coffee, won't we? And
that would be lovely. Yeah. Or if you decide to try and make a dry visit to Cornwall, then we can meet here.
Can you guarantee that?
Nope.
Damn. All right. Yeah. Okay. I actually have a friend moving to Cornwall to open a cafe, so I will definitely be over that way at some point. But we do digress. We're not here to talk about caravans or Cornwall or rain or Cornish pasties. As amazing as they are, we're here to talk about you and your amazing business and your journey. So tell us, Lou, what it is that you actually do with your life.
So I have a business which has come together kind of as a joining together of two of my passions. And I only realised that the second one, which I'll tell you about in a moment, was a passion very, very recently. So I have had a long journey with getting to deep connection with my inner self, which started 10, 11, I'm glad I can't remember exactly when, because it means I'm moving on, years ago, when I had a very unusual form of cancer. And an event like that in your life kind of puts an awful lot into perspective. And I have been on a massive personal development journey since then. And then I realised that there's something else which really, really is important to me. And it is figuring stuff out with tech. So my business is, I call myself the Female Entrepreneur's Dream Doula, and it's all about helping women who are coaches and wellness professionals to birth their new ideas into the world, whether that be their website, their new membership, their new program, through both working with their mindset and also either empowering them to, or actually doing the tech side of things for them themselves. It's an interesting combination because you tend to think that somebody is either one or the other, but I am not one or the other, I am both. And that's why I help other women in this combined way, I guess.
So why, I mean, I can appreciate the mindset side. As you said, if you overcame, health issues and you worked on your personal development, and that brings out a lot in you that you can share with other people. But why the tech side? Because you were a lawyer originally. Yes. So, I mean, we're still getting a bit off track here, aren't we?
Yes, and don't like the word but, and as a lawyer, essentially what I did was I sat and I did this overview of my life and I thought to myself, what are the common themes? Even then, as a lawyer, figuring out the stuff, which in those days involved Word and Excel, and not much else, really floated my boat. I was the one that would rehash all of the standard documents, and it wasn't so much because I wanted the law to be right as that it was a challenge to figure out how you did it within the confines of Word, for example. Or I would set up Excel spreadsheets to help me calculate things because I didn't trust my finger in a calculator. And it was fun to figure out what formula to put in the Excel spreadsheet. So it's always been there.
Okay.
And, going back to the very first computer we had as a family was a ZX Spectrum. And even that, I just remember the excitement. And it wasn't, again, so much the game as the fact that it was this computer thing and it could do stuff that then we really didn't understand. So I think it has been a common thread through my life.
Yeah.
when I've had my first business, I didn't even think about whether I should get somebody else to create my website. I just figured out how to do it. And it's the figuring out that, and the tech and the options that tech gives us, that I just find really fascinating.
I must admit, I do like figuring stuff like that out myself as well. I remember our first computer, I don't even know what it was called. The screen was black, the text was white, and then we had a daisy wheel printer. I mean, that makes me sound really, it makes me sound really prehistoric. It didn't do anything, but you could type on it, and that was pretty much it. So I don't even know what that was. That was
BBC or something like that, probably.
I don't know. And we got so excited when we got an AOL email. Oh, that's the only one there was. Like, what the heck?
And do you remember Ask Jeeves and Alta
Yes.
Vista search engines?
Yes. Does that not exist anymore?
No. Well, I don't think Alta Vista does. I Ask Jeeves might in some other form, but no, I don't think it does. I think it's all Google and Bing and whatever the things are now.
Yeah, it's probably all Google. What is jangling? Have you got some jangly earrings or something?
No.
Or a jangly dress?
No. Look, nothing.
Oh. I just keep hearing a jingle, jingle, jingle. And I'm like, oh.
I can't hear a jingle.
Don't know what it is.
I have no jewellery on. Nothing metal.
I don't know. Maybe it's just you. Maybe you're just jingly. So let's look at when you're helping the female coaches and wellness professionals, and you're helping them release things that no longer serve them and helping them reconnect with their inner self and their inner knowing. What do you do with that? How do you help people with that?
So it's a two-part process, really. And it starts actually with reconnecting with ourselves, because we have been conditioned societally not to do that, not to connect with our inner knowing. And I believe and know that we all have a deep inner knowing, an intuition, you might call it gut feelings, and we have been disconnected from that.
Yes.
So it's a process of really finding our way home to ourselves, and that is done through a myriad of ways, but including getting quiet, meditating. There's journaling. I find is incredibly valuable for that, because our journal is our safe space where we can say things that we wouldn't say probably to anybody else on the face of the planet. And it also helps us to let that inner knowing out onto the page. There's a wonderful method of journaling, I don't know if you've tried it, where you just surrender and let the pen do what the pen wants to do. You might ask, there might be a question at the top of the page, there might not be, and it's just you don't control it. It's hard, it takes practice to not try and control what comes out of the end of that pen, but I think that's a really valuable way of learning to connect in. And all of these processes are about getting quiet and being comfortable in that quietness with ourselves, because again, the world is a very busy place for us these days, and it's not something that we're taught to do anymore, and it's something that makes many of us feel uncomfortable. I remember going back to my cancer treatment, being in hospital by myself, in a hospital room by myself, was really challenging, because it was scary while I was there, and I don't know if I ever knew. I'm an only child, and I still don't know if I ever knew how to be alone with those kind of feelings. And I think it's really important that we become more connected with ourselves, so that we know that it's safe to just be with ourselves.
I must admit, I mean, like, society rewards busyness, doesn't it? You know, if somebody says to you, oh, how are you doing? If you turn around and you say, oh God, I've been really busy, they're like, oh great, fantastic, blah blah blah. If you say, well, I've been sat silent doing nothing, people think you're going absolutely mad. They'll be like, oh, why are you not busy? Why are you not doing something? You have to be. We're human beings, but we insist on being human doings, and we have to be doing something all the time, and that's really bad.
And I think that comes a lot from the culture, the work culture that we have existed in in my mind, for way too long, in the sense that, you know, we have this, for many of us, I had this 9 to 5 working week where you are expected to be productive, in quotes, as far as I'm concerned,
Well, yeah.
for all of that time. But that doesn't actually cater for us as human beings. And, you know, research has been done which shows that we are actually productive. Somebody that works for an 8-hour working day is actually productive for just over 2 hours and 50 minutes of that time.
Yeah.
And that's where I actually start when I talk to my clients about the fact that we can build time for ourselves into our business day. And we can do that both by making the decision, actually scheduling it, and then using tech. So using scheduling software for our calls, for example, is a really easy way into that, to save ourselves time. If there's a repetitive task and there's a way that tech can help us to do that so that we don't have to have our hands on everything, then we're releasing time from the doing so that we can just be, and it's okay to just be. Because, and I've just come off the back of, well, probably about a month ago, I came off the back of 2 or 3 months of not walking my talk at all. And I can tell you categorically that trying to do all the time probably achieved almost nothing. Whereas doing and being is making massive change for me, you know, in just a month since I've gone back to what I always knew was right. But let my mind take me somewhere else for a while.
It's true though, isn't it? I mean, we do get conditioned. When I started the job I had before, when I was working, when it was new, and I was like, you know, I said to the manager, what am I doing? What do you want me to do? And she's like, oh, well, I need you to do this, and this. I was like, right, okay, I'm on it. And then within like a couple of hours, I'd done. And I was like, okay, what do I do next? She's like, but you finished. Why? How have you finished? I said, because I've done it. Because if I'm doing something, I'm really focused, then I get it done. And I get it done really quickly. And she was like, oh, well, I don't know what to give you now. But she had to find something to keep me going for the rest of the day, type of thing, you know. And it was crazy. It was in the situation that, like you're talking about, you shouldn't need to fill those hours. If you've done what needs to be done and you're not leaving something hanging, then why can't you just be like, okay, well, I've done for the day?
I think for me, certainly in my very first business, which was a handmade business, so very different from what I'm doing now, I had that old saying, which I think an American entrepreneur, you might be able to tell me who, when I say what it is, said, which is an entrepreneur is somebody that works 80 hours a week for themselves to avoid working 48 hours a week for somebody else.
I have heard that, actually.
And it's like, I lived that. I really lived that in that first business. And that's another reason why I know it doesn't work, because that business didn't work, and it nearly killed me, and it really badly damaged my relationship, my marriage. But we believe this stuff because the person that said that was a really successful entrepreneur. Who knows how successful their life was outside of that. I'd be willing to guess that it wasn't plain sailing.
No free time. What are they going to do?
Exactly. And the amazing thing about this connected world that we live in, for all the downsides of social media, etc., is that we now have tools available to us through the medium that you and I are now talking, through our computers, which enables us to take the strain off the day-to-day running of our businesses, so that we, even if we are still solopreneurs and aren't outsourcing, we don't have to be go do all the time.
I mean, you know, there are a lot of things you have to do as a solo entrepreneur that you do every single role in your business, especially in the beginning. But like you say, you think to yourself, oh, everyone's always told me that if I'm an entrepreneur, if I'm doing my own business, you have to work really hard because it's hard work, and you have to put in extra hours and weekends and evenings and all of this crap. And you believe it. And if you're not doing it, you're like, oh, I have to find something else to do then. I have to find something, I have to tweak something, I have to add something, I have to. And it does grind you down, doesn't it? It's crazy.
And that experience, if you think about it, up until 25-ish years ago, all entrepreneurs were in bricks and mortar businesses, weren't they?
Yeah.
Because an alternative didn't exist. And
Mm.
that is a very different way of working, because you have to physically be there.
Yeah.
And you're taught, if you have a shop, well, you have to be there in order to service your customers. That is not the way for the in online business, is it? It's a very, very
No.
different model.
Yeah, and even people with bricks and mortar businesses now always have an online presence as well, which, and that brings in extra orders and things, or extra business, without them actually having to find the business as well. So everyone's moving online in some degree, aren't they?
Yes, and the last 18 months have made that really necessary for many, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been a godsend, really, hasn't it? Because it's made people have to look at different avenues and different ways of working. And now it's like, even though I love being face to face with people, it's just so much easier to not have to be, be able to sit at my kitchen, have a cup of coffee, and they'll be like, right, I've got a call in 5 minutes. I'm off a pop onto the computer, rather than you have to go somewhere, you have to park, you have to whatever else. It's just so time efficient.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the challenge, I think, for us, because of the way that we have been conditioned to be do, is to take that time saved and not automatically fill it. Like, so you said, sitting at the kitchen table having a cup of coffee, rather than plugging away at my computer until 1 minute before it's time to have this call, and then have the call, because you'll be coming to it fresher as well, won't you?
Yeah, exactly. And people, when they're not commuting, they have time to fill with meditation or movement, or just relaxing and getting into their day, rather than fighting through traffic. But yeah, some people don't. They just get to the computer at 6 a.m. And I have to admit, sometimes I do.
Yeah, snap.
Not often. I try not to, but sometimes I'm like, well, if I get up at 5, sometimes, especially in the summer, I'm up there and I'm like, right, okay, I'm ready. And by 7, I'm like, oh God, I'm bored. What do I do with myself now? What do I do, again, with inverted commas, do? I have to do something. So I think, all right, I'll just pop on the computer, and then my day starts. And then other days I get up at, I don't know, whatever time, and I get to work at 9 of whatever.
So, and the joy of making this choice to be an entrepreneur is choice.
Yeah.
Today, my husband has a medical appointment at the hospital and couldn't eat after 11:30, and he'd forgotten he had a meeting. So I get a message saying, can you sort some lunch out for me? First of all, I'm here in the house where he is. And secondly, I can drop everything, because we didn't have any food in the house, and go to the supermarket. And as I was driving back, I actually had this big grin on my face, because I was thinking, I get to do this and it's okay.
Yeah.
I get to just be able to choose how I spend my time every second of every day, really. And that is something to be hugely grateful for, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, if you've got the tech going on that's supporting your business, that is also enabling you to be able to just pop off somewhere at a moment's notice and do something else, because things are still going to be running on in the background, and people are still going to be seeing things.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest tech issue most entrepreneurs have that you help with?
I think this is the biggest issue that most entrepreneurs have, tech or otherwise, and that's themselves. In the sense that I think that we're both over 40, and I think that we are some of the last people that didn't grow up with computers there all the time.
Yeah.
And so people of our generation women in business, I know, because I hear it, tell themselves they're technophobes, they can't do it, it's too hard. And I think, actually, as Marie Forleo says, everything is figure outable, and it might not be the best use of your time to do it all the time, as in to be the person that does all of your tech all of the time, but to get the ball rolling, I think the biggest obstacle, the hardest thing is that belief, is to set aside those mental blocks, those voices that tell you that tech isn't your thing and that's somebody else's job, and to actually believe in yourself that you can do it. And I think I was talking to my yoga teacher actually about this a while ago. We also came to tech in a time when 99% of the people working in tech were men. And that's a block, because we tell one of the stories many women will be telling themselves is, I can't do that because, and it might be subconscious, but there's still this thing of, because I'm a woman and women don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even though we absolutely can.
I absolutely love the tech side of stuff. Years ago, I created, because I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur and I've done many things. And one of them was an online shop. And I had no idea. I had to work out Dreamweaver and something else, Cartweaver, I can't remember. But I had to work it all out and learn how to code and all sorts of stuff. And I absolutely loved it. It was just like the best thing ever, learning how to do things and tweak things and go into the code and everything. And I was just, but I am a bit of a techie. I love anything to do with that. So I'm always like, yes, let's get into this and make a huge mess of it.
Here's a question for you, because I definitely do feel this. Do you still, when there's something new to figure out, have that moment of, oh my goodness, and then actually, no, it's okay. All I have to do is figure this out. Because I do.
Yes. Yeah. When it's the mountain, isn't it? You're like, shit, that's a big mountain to climb. But then you just think, okay, first step, right, let's go for the next one. Let's learn this bit. Let's do the next bit. So I'm
totally. And the only difference between you and me and anybody who's listening, who's thinking, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm still a technophobe, is that you and I feel that and then switch to, but I can figure this out. And so that's why, that is a key reason why I blend the mindset with the tech, because it's all very well feeling empowered to go out and create the thing. It's all very well knowing how to do it. But when you combine the two, then that's really powerful, and that's going to move you forward in your business.
Yeah, you've got to believe that you can do it, haven't you? Yeah. I just put all that to one side and just get on with it. And then if I make a mess of it, go back and do it again. So
yes. And I often think about that. I remember watching my mum and people of her generation with computers, and they're like, but if I press that button, something awful might happen.
It's going to explode. Stop.
But a computer isn't. The computers we use, at least, are not like the human brain.
No.
They're not. And they're not, well, there's nothing human about them. So, you can make a mistake and undo it 99.9% of the time. Pretty much the only mistake I've made and not been able to undo was updating the operating system on an old computer that couldn't handle it, and it died. And fortunately, I'd backed nearly everything up. But, that is the only time when I haven't been able to undo it in, the many years of spending my days sat in front of my computer working.
Yeah, I've done that, but I didn't back it up. Oh my God, it wiped out files and files. Not all of them, just some of them. And when I was ringing Apple, they were going, no, it's nothing to do with I'm like, you're jerking me, aren't you? Nothing to do with the operating system. Well, there's a forum here that's like millions of other people have had the same shit going on. No, it's not us. I'm like, oh. Yeah.
When I took that computer to the Apple shop during lockdown, because they were open for repairs during the last lockdown, I think it was 7 or 8 years old, and I went to collect it, and the guy said, oh yes, it's the geriatric one. What did you just call my computer? 2 days later, it completely died, and now I'm talking to you on a new one.
Oh my God, yeah. My Mac was, I got my Mac in 2014 or 13. So yeah, mine was old as well. It didn't do well with Catalina or whatever it was called. So
I think mine was probably very similar age to yours. I miss it, even though this new one is amazing. I still, that was like my first computer that I worked on, as opposed to just had it for surfing the net.
Fond memories.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looking back and remembering the good old times with the old Mac.
And its lovely silveriness.
Yes, mine is still going. It's very silvery, but it's very slow. I don't use it very much anymore. Actually, it's up in the another room. I tend to use my Mac. Don't know what I've got. It's a laptop thing. Yeah. Yes, I've got a laptop now. So. Yeah. So, do you with your clients that you're working with on the mindset and the tech, is that on a one-to-one basis, or is it like a group coaching? Is it things that are pre-recorded trainings, or are you straight in there? What's your problem? Let's do that together.
At the moment, I have two one-to-one options. One is what I call done for you, i.e. we do the mindset stuff together, but then I will do the tech for you.
Okay.
And that would run up to a launch of either your membership or your website. And month 1 would be the mostly planning. Then we'd move into the creating. And then the month 3 would really be for dealing with anything that comes up once you've launched. And then the other option is done by you, where that is the mindset combined with teaching, which is a combination of pre-recorded videos and in-person time with me. And I'm currently also working on a group membership in Member Vault. And that's quite exciting because I'm figuring out some new tech.
I've done Member Vault, actually. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It's given that you start free, I'm pretty impressed. So I'm currently working on that as well, and that will launch mid-August.
Perfect. So if any of our listeners wanted to get in touch with you, how could they find you on the web?
They can find me on Instagram or my website, which I've given you the details for, but is louportass.com.
Yep.
And those are probably the 2 best places to find me.
Okay, perfect. So if anybody wants to get in touch, find out more about mindset and tech. So it's coaches and wellness professionals. That's who you mainly
coaches and wellness professionals who are ready to do their next big thing online and just show up more and be more visible and want some help to get there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Lou. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon in the caravan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just, get the kettle on and you'll be fine, won't you?
Yeah, I will indeed. Thank you so much for having me, Tara. It's been lovely.
It's been great. Thanks, Lou. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. I'll be back next week bringing more meditation, mindset, and motivation for your happy and successful life. To find out more about our community, go to tarachatzakis.com/happy, inspired, motivated.